So what I want us to do is to start becoming more conscious, start choosing things in a better way for ourselves, and start creating a life that's going to gear us to really take advantage of the opportunities that are going to show up for us in the years to come.
This podcast is brought to you by The Integrated Human. We work up, down, inside out to plug yourself into your potential. If you want to see what we are up to and what's next, sign up to our newsletter or follow us on social media. If you like what we are doing, we really appreciate it if you can like our post on social media and YouTube and help us grow.
All right. Welcome to the Big and Small Podcast. I'm Jason Shields and I'm big.
I'm Marit and I'm the tiny one.
Yo, tiny one.
Jason has way too much energy today.
Yeah, I'm feeling righteous. Hey, okay.
How you convince the people.
Yeah. Just in case you're watching this and not just listening, I know that I have a boo on my lip. I know about it. I was doing some jiu-jitsu rolling and sometimes the knees go flying. So you catch a knee in the face.
Sometimes they misinterpret the jiu-jitsu with kung fu.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody be kung fu fighting, but I didn't know about it until I got hit. So
it's important when you engage to know the rules of engagement.
That's right. That's exactly. That was War Daddy, my grandfather, who was a famous tank division commander in the Second World War. The thing that separated him from most people was that he always had a plan going in. So it's easier to change a plan once you set the rules of engagement, but the plan had to contain the rules of engagement. So know what fight you're fighting.
Exactly.
Yep.
Helps.
It does help. We're going to talk a little bit about winter depressions.
Yeah, we chose
a
jolly subject.
That's right. It's almost Christmas. It's a couple weeks until Christmas.
Right? Oh, we're like, what are you talking about? Christmas depression.
Yeah, Christmas depression.
Let's talk about something jolly.
Yeah, now in Norway, that's real because it's quite dark here, guys. If you're listening to us from America or South America, most likely you have the experience of the evenings turning to night in the summertime where it's hot and dark. To give you an understanding of Norway, it is never hot and dark here.
No.
Ever.
It's either hot and light.
Light.
And dark and cold.
Or dark and cold, exactly. So now we're in the dark part of the year. And we have maybe, 3-4 hours of sunlight.
Depends where you live. I will say some days it just doesn't become light. Like it's dark the whole day. Yeah. Dark just like it's not just to go. There haven't been any light today. That happens actually. It's been a couple of those days so far this year. But and often, but it's if you're on a good day where it's sun, you may have sun for, if you're lucky, 6 hours. Yeah. If you're lucky. But then most likely around 4 good hours.
Yeah, it's dark. You wake up and it's dark. You go home after work and it's dark. You're working inside, usually, unless you're a carpenter or something working outside. So it's dark.
Yeah, and we've been working with this for many years now, trying to figure it out. It's very interesting. Me and my husband have been working really long days in the summertime. We've been working 7 to 8.
Yeah.
And it's been fine. We then have gone home, made dinner, walked the dog.
They've been killing it.
But not a problem.
Yeah.
But now we're working less. And we're done around 5. And we're like, don't have energy to walk the dog. And it's just very interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the light does have a huge impact. In fact, also on the sleeping rhythm, people find it natural to sleep longer now.
Yeah, it's just very fascinating.
Yeah.
Because we've been doing, for those who know this season is coming. It's not kind of like, oh my God, it's dark again.
Ooh.
You would think that when it comes to snow, people go, oh my God, it's snow again. Yeah, it happens every year. Yeah. Who was I talking to last week? Is they had a whole week where it was Norway, it was another country where they have had a week there that it's going to be a snowstorm. It's going to be a snowstorm. The snowstorm is coming. 3 days, 2 days, 1 day, and then the snow came, and they were like, "Oh my God, it's snow!" And nothing worked.
Yeah,
it's the same kind of with the darkness, and it's coming every year. So we've been noticing, especially me, I've been noticing, and we've been working with it that it's actually having an effect. So I'm trying really to work around it and see what effect it has. And it's just very fascinating when you start to sense and actually be really aware how it changed.
Yeah.
and then it's very hard not to be influenced or affected by the season.
Yeah,
totally. Same time, if you are in Norway from May to August, you can't get people to sit because they're out all the time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane.
That's the thing. Again, if you're from North America or in South America, even during the summertime, that's when everybody does everything. But here, everything shuts down. Like clubs, sports teams, everything just stops in the summer because you finally have sunlight and you can finally be outside. So everybody's in the mountains or in their gardens. They don't want to talk to anybody. They just want to be in as little clothes as possible and get sun. It's very important for our health in general because osteoporosis in the north is a lot higher because we don't get that sun on the stomach, especially. So it's sun on your tummy that produces most D vitamin. And
why is it the tummy?
It has to do with the intestines and the enzymes in the intestines, actually.
That's why that fashion is back. The whole
show your belly button. You know, yeah.
I'm not a fan, but now I know why.
Yeah,
maybe I start doing that.
Yeah, you could show your six pack. Come on now. And the sun hitting your skin, you produce D vitamin, and D vitamin is essential for taking up the calcium in your bones and keeping the bones strong. You know, a lot of people can rely on strength training if they have enough D vitamin. If you're of a darker complexion, like myself compared to you have to be even more sensitive to the fact that you have to get D vitamin from another source. In nature, we'd be eating a lot of fat. Fat is D vitamin A, D, E, K are the fat soluble vitamins. And you can get too much of them, of course, but D vitamin is one of those that you need for general health. You know, mental acuity, for your how you're feeling, your moods, and also your bone health. If people are having lots of anxiety and depression, then you always have to at least have some kind of a flag in the back of your mind thinking, okay, D vitamin and light therapy.
Is that a normal one to have a lack of D vitamin?
Yeah, it is, actually. You can test that. I would recommend that you do at some point test it if you're over 20. If you're under 20, generally your mom gave you enough. But you start to burn vitamins and minerals and you start to leak them through your kidneys the older you get. Your kidneys aren't as good at keeping them. So you need to, if you're a man, for example, you need to check your zinc and you need to check your magnesium glycinate. You should check your B vitamins if you're a lady, like B12. And everybody should check their D vitamins. You know, that you can just take a multivitamin, of course. If you already have enough, it's wasted away. So you have to think that way. But if you're going to do a lot of meditation and self-work, you have to remember the body, right? Because
kind of the vessel we live in.
It's the vessel we live in. And if you are having issues with it, you can, of course, transcend that. You can become this silent witness and pure consciousness that sees everything and accepts everything. That's great. And I did that a lot with my hip when it was at the worst, but it didn't stop my body from breaking down. It didn't stop my body from getting inflammation. It didn't stop my body from not being able to sleep. It didn't stop my body from not demineralizing my spine for a while. I thought I had cancer for a while because there were these patchy holes in some of my vertebrae, but that was just the inflammation in my body. So your body, even though your state of consciousness is clear and present, your body still needs support. So remember that when you're doing any kind of self-development, you also have to take your body with you. Take care of yourself. A lot of the traditions will break the mind or break the body in order to, in a way, achieve pure consciousness. Hatha yoga, for example, is very hard. And they'll put themselves in these horrific poses for I don't know how long. But if you take x-rays of 100 yogis and then you take an x-ray of 100 normal people, that a lot of yogis have much worse wear and tear on their bodies than the people who are not doing anything. And you're thinking, why? It's because they're pushing those positions so hard, because instead of using them to center, many use them to get flexible and to show achievement in their spiritual process by being very flexible when maybe they're not.
Is there a reason why yoga is connected to spiritual work? Because I wasn't very spiritual. I would say I am now. But always one of the reasons why I kind of took a lot of distance to it and it was very hard to get me to start to meditate was that I took a big distance from what I call yoga pants culture. I always felt that if I'm going to take advice or listen to someone, that person should have accomplished something I also want.
Yeah.
I think that's very reasonable. And we talk about that when we talk about money. If you have $1 million or 10 million crowns and you want to help to invest them, don't go to the bank where there's a teenager that's going to give you advice. I would go to someone that has $1 million.
Yeah.
Exactly. So how do you deal with $1 million?
Yeah.
I always felt that the spiritual meditative practice, they were freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Because, not offense to people with dreads, but that's not something I would like to have in my life. I also like to have a toilet. I don't like camping. I've done that enough. And so I always felt it was portrayed so much. I have, like, right now, I have a lot of spiritual friends, and some of them are very expressive in how they dress, but they're also very grounded in it.
Yes.
It's not a act.
Yeah.
And you feel that when you see them, that they're not showing off, that just they are that thing.
Yeah.
And they have accomplishment and grounding in it.
Exactly.
So why is yoga and that part connected to why are we looking at yoga and spiritual work to be the same?
The way that yoga has been adopted in the West is strange, basically. Yoga has gone from hatha yoga to power yoga to body fitness pump yoga to all kinds of different versions of it so people can get a good workout. The point of yoga is actually accessing the body to gain enlightenment. Same thing with, we talk about that you're a seer yogi, a beer yogi, or doer yogi. Yoga was the way that doer yogis got enlightenment. And you would get to a pose and you would get to where the tension in your body, where you're correcting your posture or you're stretching yourself to the point where it's very uncomfortable. And then you look in,
it's very comfortable.
Yeah, it can be very uncomfortable. And then you look into your heart and you smile and you're in love, even though you're in discomfort. And that's really part of this whole process, that being able to show up and do what's needed, regardless of whether it's painful or not. You and I get that through jujitsu. Somebody grinds your face, like my lip, for example. Did I stop rolling? No, just keep moving. You keep going. I know I got hit. Great. I know it's going to be blue. Whatever. It doesn't matter, because it doesn't stop me from who I am. But when people are constantly getting parked for every little boo-boo that they're getting, they
every
have
little discomfort.
Every little discomfort. Exactly. That's the little boo-boos I was about to say. Exactly. Then they can't live. Then they're not in the flow. Then they're not at one with the universe. And that's what we want for people. And that's what yoga originally was intended for.
Because you and Steve, you did yoga for hours a day, didn't you?
Yeah, I meditated for 4 hours a day, deeply in sitting. And then before I would do the meditation practice, I would do anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour worth of yoga postures and then breathing, basically to clear my body out and prepare it to be a receiver for pure consciousness. And it's pretty extensive. It's like doing like a soma breath session, for example, and that peace that you get
after
when that's it. And then imagine meditating. So you use the yoga postures in order to kind of zero your body out so that it's not creating static for your brain. And then you're able to more easily find that state of peace. Now, but it takes a long time, right?
It takes some hours.
Yeah, it takes some hours, right? I would use maybe an hour, 45 minutes on that. And then I would do 2 hours of meditation. And then I would have my day. And then I would do the same thing again in the evening. And, when people talk to me about, so you've done some meditation? I've done all the meditation. And I've done different kinds of meditation as well.
And when people wonder how it was possible, you went to Maharishi University.
International University, exactly. Yeah. That was part of the curriculum.
It actually was part of the school, because I was wondering, how is it possible? Like, I've been to college, like, how is it possible? Yeah. But it was actually college that was
for that.
Yeah. It had school, of course, but you also had, what's the word in English? Tilrettelegging?
You had organized. It was organized so that you could do it. Yeah, and that's true. But we had full days at school.
Yeah,
it was just a part of what you do there. I started meditating when I was a kid, like 4 or 5 years old, and when I continued with that, I did it all through high school and my childhood as well. And then when I went to university, actually before that, around the age of 16, then I started really doing the 4 hours a day, and that was a very interesting time in my life. There's a lot of when you start meditating at that age, you don't have a lot of crap to flush away. So you get a lot of good, deep changes, but you have to, at the same time, keep your head clear. People are always laughing about meditators being weirdos. You can get, if you're doing some heavy meditation, man, it's like taking psychedelics. You get some weird experiences.
You question yourself sometimes.
Oh, yeah. It's like, whoa.
Well, you question yourself all the time. That's the problem. You end up questioning everything you do, but you also go, what was that? And it's good to have a community then, because one can have some crazy experience and then to go, did you see that or feel that or sense that? And I go, yeah, okay, then I'm not alone. I'm not crazy. Everything's good.
Exactly. And it's when you're accessing your nervous system, you're turning on and off different parts of your brain, and every human experience is there waiting for you in your own brain. So when you're starting to get these things flashing like Christmas lights, Merry Christmas, you can have some insane, amazing, beautiful experiences. But you can get weird too if you're doing, we used to do these things called rounding, where you would basically have 4 meditations a day and just come out, basically eat and walk, and you would yoga and meditate and yoga and meditate and yoga and meditate and yoga and meditate. It was insane. And you do this for 2 weeks and you don't talk to anybody, right? So you get some real alone time with your brain. And if you understand what solitary confinement is, when you're put in a box in jail and you can't talk to anybody, the reason why that's an issue is that you then are sitting alone with your own thoughts.
Yeah, isolation is the worst punishment.
It's people would rather be with rapists and murderers than hang out by themselves, because there's so much weird stuff that happens inside you. And when you're busy, you don't know about it. You don't know that your brain right now is having between 50 and 150 thoughts a minute because you're not paying attention to it, but it's running. And that also shows you that you're not your thoughts, because it's just producing all kinds of static.
It's rapping in the background.
Exactly. And then when you sit down and you start getting quiet, then the shit starts to hit the fan. Then the monkeys start to pull your ear. And, I remember this one guy coming out of a meditation. He's, I've solved world hunger. I've solved it. Like, really? Yeah, I know how to fix this. We're going to save Africa first. And I'm like, that sounds amazing. So what are we going to do? And he's like, everybody loves a bagel. It's okay. Yeah. People love some bagels. So I'm going to take photocopies of bagels and I'm going to fly over Africa and I'm just going to take these photocopies and give them to everybody. Everybody's getting bagels. It's like, bro.
Maybe not.
Yeah. Now, this being said, if you're not a meditator, don't get scared, homie. It's when you're doing really deep stuff and you're actually clearing out your subconscious mind. And of course, an hour later, he was like, oh my God, what was I thinking? That's so crazy. It's like, but it shows you that a lot of the boundaries and a lot of the frames that we use in order to understand the world around us support our thinking. And some of them are good and some of them are not. Exactly. And you need to be able to look at them. And when he then took a step back and he looked at something, that frame I need. I don't think I'm going to feed people with bagels, photocopies of bagels. Never mind. I'm sorry. And I'm like, bro, don't say you're sorry. I understand. We want to feed people.
But is that also why, because sometimes when you have a deep meditation, you can come out and everything's very clear. But then a week later, it's not that clear anymore, because then you had a different state of consciousness. But then, like we say in the structure of consciousness, you work with pure consciousness on top.
Yeah.
And awareness is right under. And then you flush through the world universe and philosophies and roles and values and emotions and down to the body. So in that process of coming back down, thing kind of comes in, like your role as a partner, your teacher, your everything else comes in. So the clearness you had maybe doesn't fit quite in the life you're living.
Very good thing. Very, very good point. So think of it like this. I love to think of it like this because it makes so much sense to me when I've had these experiences. And that is that we talk about the structure of consciousness. We talk about the flow funnel. And all of us would love to experience flow, being in the flow, right? The flow happens traditionally, and I'll answer your question in just a minute because it's very interesting what you said, because it's a great point. It's like when you understand that, you're going to understand a lot. The flow funnel is when the frames that you've set up in these different levels of your consciousness align so that you have like a whole, you have a channel from the top to the bottom. So generally, you have situations in the flow state where you are an expert at something, which means that you've created, from awareness all the way down to action, you've created a channel that's clear and open. And when it's busy enough, you don't have a chance to kind of bring in other crap. You're just doing what you're good at. And that's all it is. Like in jujitsu or in boxing, or when you're working in a factory or whatever, you're constantly just doing the job, and it's going fast enough so you can't think about if you fed the cat, or damn it, he should have fed the cat, and hold on a second, I'm always fighting the cat, I'm always feeding the cat, and oh, and who's paying for that food? And you get pulled out of what you're doing. Then the flow stops. So when you meditate, basically you're knocking away all of the things that are pulling you out of the moment. And they're there all the time, but how heavily they affect you is dependent on how much of a hook they have on you. So if you think it's cute that you love feeding the cat, for example, so you don't mind feeding the cat, you go, yeah, I always feed the cat, but you know what? Pfft, I love the cat. I love feeding it. Done. But if you have some irritation about the fact that the other one never feeds the cat, and in fact, whose cat is it? It's not even your cat, and
his cat.
It's his freaking cat, and I pay for the food, and suddenly it's really like pulling. It's got a hook on you here, and it's got a hook on you there. Meditation, it's basically taking those hooks away so that you can be in that moment in the channel. But as soon as you come out, then life starts to hit. And that's why you probably, in most cases, should meditate once or twice a day, because you need an opportunity to free yourself up from all the stuff that's pushing you out of that good zone. The good zone is a clear head, a full, accepting, loving heart, and a body that's ready to respond, like we've always talked about in the integrated human. Then you're basically in that flow state continuum, right? So once you have done the meditation and you've gotten somewhat proficient, you've done enough to find the channel for yourself and be in the moment, you can have an unbelievable amount of clarity about your life. It's when you are working to try to break some of these hooks that the cat and the guy has on you, or whatever you're worried about, the job or money or the economy of the United States government, universe. Exactly. You're worried about your kids or whatever this you're constantly obsessing about. Those things can pull you out. And even in meditation, it could be a disturbance in your meditation, and it takes time for you to allow that to go away. And that's why sometimes people come up with some weird ideas when they've been meditating deeply, because they get into deeper levels of weirdness and things that are hooking them, maybe childhood traumas, childhood ideas. I remember you told me about one incident where a girl got all freaked out about getting weighed when you were a young lady, and that kind of
seventh grade.
In seventh grade, and that kind of created.
I didn't know about body shame.
Yeah, body shame or body issues.
Body issues before that.
Exactly.
But then a lady with power.
Yeah.
Bully.
A bully. Yeah.
In the class.
Yeah.
All of a sudden had a freak out. So when that person that has authority in some way or another has an issue with it, of course, you as a minor gets an issue with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if that person has, you're 10, 9, of course you're gonna have it. Thank God I didn't have social media, so I didn't get any feedback on that. But I remember that incident.
That was the moment of body issue awareness.
Yeah, but that came up in a meditation.
Exactly. And those things, if you're not finished processing it in your meditation, when you come out, you can have some weird ideas. And suddenly you're like, oh my God, you feel like you're 10 years old and you have issues because your body's not finished allowing it to go away. That's why you can be super duper clear and then suddenly you get pulled out because life has time to catch you. And now social media, like you just said, they literally have the best psychologists, sociologists, and tech people in the world trying to hook you. They literally have one mission, and that is to make you as addicted as possible to the mobile phone. And I know I've talked about this before, but now the evidence has actually come out.
It's a very issue. We can't get away from it.
Yeah, right now we can't.
And we are just, people are where we are actually looking at into how we as a company can try to be less on it. But the issue right now is that also because of the way it is, it's such a big channel of communication. So we kind of work, but we are working on different channels and structures to, it is what it is. And it's hard to not have it in one life, but making some rules and sets of frames around it where it doesn't control your life and it has much less influence. It's really smart. So we're actually working on that to see how we, like, our goal is integrated humans.
Yes.
How can one work with social media?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we don't ban anything, so it's more how do you work with alcohol?
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
You don't get drunk every day, do you?
Yeah. No.
But how can one have a glass of wine or in moderation somehow? Like, how can you want to do that with social media?
Exactly.
Without becoming an addict?
Yes. Have a nice glass of wine with a steak dinner, but don't be drinking every night.
Exactly. So we're trying to figure out and look at solutions because the thing is that we want to be a community, because a community is very important. I think to have a meditative practice or to have a path like this, it's crucial. How do you then do it when you have people in Sweden and in the States and in London and in whatever?
Yeah.
It's very hard.
It is.
When we don't have social media.
Exactly.
So it's a nice balance to have to figure out. But we are actually working on it. Because people are listening to it. But we are looking into, I think also it's going to come more solutions.
Yeah.
Because people are starting to wake up to it. It's a problem.
Yeah.
And like you said, I've been reading the
Anxiety
Generation. Really good book.
It's amazing.
Well, it's scary. But it awakens you a little bit.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that, like you did it.
Yeah, the Anxiety Generation.
But the one thing that is good with winter depression is that it is a good meditative state.
Yes, exactly. Because when you are going on the inside, it's really easy to get deep meditations. And now, Marit and I, we talk about emotions in a slightly different way than heart math does, though we also use the heart math regenerative and degenerative or depleting emotions. So your positive emotions are one that basically build your energy, and the depleting ones, the negative ones, of course, deplete your energy. That's true. But we talk often about outward going or inward going emotions, high emotions or low emotions, vibrational, because we're a little more on the vibrational level. Your inward going emotions like depression and sadness, if you really think about it, if you never actually thought about that, when you're sad and depressed, are you super outgoing or are you more internal? Of course, you're more internal, right? When you're hurt and sad and you're heartbroken, those are internal states. So using that inward going emotion to really get some deep sitting meditations is fantastic. And when you're high and happy, doing movement meditations is fantastic, right? Outward going, active things. Just understand that you're going to have happiness and sadness in your life, but your job, because it's your life, is to figure out how you're going to integrate those in a way that's useful for you. So a lot of people, instead of just sleeping 12 hours a day, will sit down and meditate maybe an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening to get good practice in their meditations. And that actually augments, that's a great word, it augments to your practice and also teaches you when it's easy to sit longer with your meditations. So that's a great point. Also, with the whole social media thing, we don't say that you shouldn't be on social media, like Marit was saying, and we're trying to figure out how to work with it. but it's really interesting how in one of our momentum coaching groups, which I recommend that people do, it's a fantastic group of people. It was interesting because we brought up the word narrative. And narrative is like the story you live after. So, for example, let me give you a narrative. When you look up in the sky, you see stars, right? But you also see constellations like Cassiopeia, and there are different constellations. You may not, but if you're a person who looks at stars, you see constellations. Those help people navigate on the ocean, like the Northern Star. But those constellations actually don't exist. You know that, right? Those are our ideas of the way those stars go together to make a certain constellation. If you go to the moon or you go to a certain other planet, for example, the sky looks completely different. So it's not like the constellation of Cassiopeia actually exists. It's just a pattern that we see. And that's exactly what a narrative is. Things are happening and you put things in a system to make sense to you. Now, it makes sense to you and that helps you get through your life. Now, this is important because when you look at the constellations, it helps you navigate on the ocean, which is great, right? But when it stops helping you, change the story. Right? Because then you have to find a different star to navigate by. And that's a lot of the work that we're doing with shamanism, the work that we're doing with awareness, trying to help people change their story to become better and more efficient human beings and get more out of their life so that they can navigate their life more to where they want to go. Now, social media, its job is to addict you. Now the phone, it's not the phone's fault. The phone is like it's like this syringe. The social media is the heroin, okay? The issue is that the things we are primarily stimulated by are our survival instincts. So if somebody did something horrible or you're not going to believe what just happened and oh my God, what the fuck just happened and all that stuff, all this terror and terrifying stuff that's going on, you'll look at that 10 times more often than even a cat video because you want to avoid getting crushed by the horrible thing that's coming. So what happens is it feeds you what you want so that you want to go back, and it feeds you horror stories about the other side of the political scale or about society or the things that you don't like, so that you actually get more and more polarized. And this is the weird thing. So social media is actually making political aggression. It's making the sides move further and further away from each other because it's polarizing this, because it's trying to initiate or to fire up under our survival instincts. Isn't that interesting? It's actually quite, in my eyes, quite terrifying. So it's creating stories or narratives. So instead of it being Cassiopeia, there's dragons falling from the sky in these constellations. It's a horror story instead of it just being a factoid. So we really have to be clear today that the information that we take in, that we check it and double check it. And we don't let other people make stories for us to live by because their stories may not function well in our lives. So I just thought that was an interesting connection with the narratives and the coaching group. By the way, we have no more tickets left for the Flow State coming up. I'm really sorry, my friends. We advertised, we sent it out there. You guys that are listening, I hope you got the opportunity to buy tickets. It's going to be an unbelievable event. We're going to have 4 days of deep dive. We're going to have emotional mastery series because we've been working down the flow funnel the whole way. And now we're hitting emotions. And if you want to make more money, if you want a promotion at work, if you want better health, you have to be able to regulate your what? Emotions. More people with educations and bad emotional regulation have become bankrupt, then people with no education and good self-regulation, they become the millionaires. People who have self-control and can handle their own self from the inside out. And that's what we're going to be working on. So I can't wait. I'm like, I hate the fact that it's in March. We have to wait until March. Usually we're in February, but all the hotels were filled, and yeah, it was a mess. When you see the advertisement for the next flow state, you better jump on it. All right. Remember, you matter. Unless you multiply yourself by the speed of light squared, then your energy. But if you can't be energy, matter.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you felt we added something to your day and hopefully your life. If you want to learn more, subscribe to our newsletter and find us at integrated-human.com. That is integrated-human.com. Integrated Human on YouTube and other social media platforms. Have a great day and thank you again for listening. Love, light, and upgrade from us at the Integrated Human team.